fucking stroking it in front of
What
children.
do you mean? That's so fun.
Because, like, you're all fucking losers at a speedrun event.
I don't have to worry about being palatable.
Yeah, because there's only so much you can do, Cosmic. Look, I'm asexual. Is that how you jerk off? You just poke the tip of it and then it goes... Is that how it goes? I had to buy more underwear. Sorry, I couldn't record an episode. We were too busy having gay sex all week.
People have been saying this.
I do like how the only like three or four words that Limey and I said to each other were him talking about being gay with Ness, and then I didn't hear them like while I was eating my salad, and I was like, "What are y'all talking about?" And Limey goes, "Oh, being gay," and I went, "Oh, that's cool," and then just went back to my salad. Like
That is
Context,
so
this is
poetic.
funny because Ness is straight.
Is he?
Yeah, Nessie
Wait,
P.
is he?
Nessie P is straight,
dude.
yeah. We bonded over being
Well,
straight.
no,
because we're like the two straight people at GDQ.
Ness underscore? That's his name, right? Ness underscore.
Yeah, Nessie P.
No, alt-rightness.
Alt-rightness.
No, not alt-rightness. Alt-right.
Yeah.
What?
What a
All
name.
rightness.
If that were the
I think
case.
it's
Oh,
a different
all
way of
right.
him
It's like
saying
that
it.
one
Ness.
Kendrick
Like-
song.
like I'm
we
all
go,
right.
We all right?
Yeah.
You could have just said the
We
word
gon'
all
be
right,
all
but I
right.
mean, shouts to the
Speaking-
Kendrick deep cut.
True.
It's
That's
not a
not
deep
a
cut.
deep cut.
I was about to say, is that a deep cut?
Speaking of
Shouts to
Kendrick
the
deep,
Kendrick
that's a
My
deep
brother in
cut.
Christ, what are you talking about?
Gray's
the
cut.
Kendrick, I was gonna say the Grays hit, you know.
It's like the radio hit.
Yo, speaking of
This also
other
reminds
Kendrick
me-
deep cuts, this is the Not Like Us podcast. This is the Even Though Not Like Us podcast. That bit could have probably been better. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the half-baked audio for PMC last time, but surely next time it'll be better. But we're so back. We're back from GDQ. We're here. That's all I have to say.
We're here.
How was your GDQs, fellas? People that were there because they were rich but now are no longer rich because they just spent all their money at GDQ.
Well, I got a raise in the middle of GDQ. So
Oh, well,
Oh,
alright,
shit.
then fuck me, I guess.
kind of, yeah. I mean, it still fucking sucks, but you know, I'm not gonna go into how mad I am about my job right now. But I will say,
You could.
I could, but I won't.
Tempting.
Let's see.
It's quite tempting, let me tell
Oh
you,
boy.
because I
It's
got a
about
call.
Dirge,
you know.
guys.
I'm good.
I'm not about to dirge. I am decidedly like they definitely undirged me when they were like, "Hey, we'd like to talk to you about something for 5 minutes while you're on PTO." Motherfucker, I'm
It was like
1,000
10
miles
minutes,
away.
by the way. Like, cause we were at Caribou while he was yapping, and like me and Dan, the
true.
Dirge runner, we were both sitting in there, like, so. Because we're both like kind of introverts, so we didn't talk that much. So we were just like, "When's Cosmic
And you
coming?"
two didn't know each other all that
Yeah,
much
they
yet,
needed.
so.
He and Dan needed me to bridge the gap.
Yeah, a little bit.
a lot, but it is what it is.
Anyway, go on with what you were saying, Mr. Cosmic,
so-
the Delaware.
Delaware,
Not to be confused
yeah.
with Dick Entry Cosmic. Still an all-timer joke from me.
Where are these coming
I mean,
from?
I was
Yeah,
gonna
you
say
missed a lot this week.
I was gonna say dynamic entry after like Mike got from
Dynamic.
Naruto. Yeah, dynamic entry. But anyway, no, I had a great GDQ. I'm pretty much always reminded every time I go to one of those events, like you know, that is really the home away from home, the validation space of like, you know, one of my big hobbies. And coming back sucks. I definitely ruined my sleep schedule a lot more this GDQ than I intended to. But it's because these two jokers on the top of the screen had runs at early in the morning, and I was going to be damned if I missed them, except I did miss Stuart Little. But I caught Chibi
Fucking
Robo.
fake ass bitch, bro. Oh my god.
I was tired. All right.
Yeah.
So,
I
Truly
pulled
not
two
a super
24-hour
Stuart.
days, me personally. So
you know,
I was
You're
up.
a fucking moron.
I wonder why
Yeah,
I'm sick
I heard
right
you.
now.
you're a tank, dude.
Can't believe I got sick, guys, after pulling two
Can't believe
24-hour
you got
days at GDQ.
sick.
What the
Yeah.
hell?
I mean,
God,
by,
get a
when
load
I
of
got
this guy.
by the time that I got home on Sunday, I had been up for about 23 hours. So I feel that it sucked. I didn't eat for like 23 hours. So
You should think about
it
eating
is what
food.
it is. I drank water, so that was pretty cool.
That's
That was
not
pretty
food, that's
dope.
water.
That's true. I did eat the water though, so I made it.
No, you drank the water.
No, I ate it.
No.
No, we're...
So how was the rest of your
You just
GDQ
chew
Cosmic?
ice?
No, I had a great time. it was awesome to meet the Dirge guys, NT and Dynamite Dan. They're two dudes that I've known for a couple of years now that when they got to GDQ, I really wasn't sure how good of a time that they would have, just because they were kind of there for one game and didn't really know anybody but each other and me. And
Me last
they both
GDQ?
had... Yeah, and you last GDQ.
All I knew was Jax.
Yeah, it's true.
It's me.
But they had a really wonderful time. NT wants to come back one of these years. Dan was saying to PMC, like, you know, I'm locked in, dude. Like, I really want to come back even next year.
That's
so
awesome.
it was really cool to not only sort of be the one, because Dan and we had lunch at South, like 8th Street Grill or whatever in Minneapolis. And he told me personally, he was like, dude, I am so glad that you pushed me to submit Dirge. And so that was really like a big sort of, you know, like mentor moment for me almost, even though he's been running the game like 7 years longer than me or whatever the fuck. But I guess in terms of like, you know, mentoring somebody into the speedrun space, that was a very cool moment for me because I was going to submit Dirge on my own, but instead I was like, I could have my 6th GDQ belt, you know, like my 6th GDQ run under my belt, or I could help bring a friend into the fold and they could also have a great time. So that was really awesome.
I
Just
feel
to
like
hang out
that's
with
something
them.
that you and I have been kind of transitioning into lately in terms of marathon experience and being a part of this. Is we've kind of, like, obviously we're still down to clown and, you know, get a run in or something like that.
Absolutely.
But we've kind of transitioned into this role of just making sure that these games that we really care about get their spotlight, and like these specific people also feel like that level of encouragement, right? So that kind of resonated with me a little bit. I'm gonna be real, but
yeah, fair enough.
that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid point, right? Because, you know, like we discussed with PMC, you know, the fellowship and everything with people is really the most important part. So having more feathers in your cap is always nice, but being able to share those moments with friends is also awesome. And, you know, that was also a thing for me, was like, I felt like this is probably the most happy I've been with my commentary at an event overall, because I finally got to do commentary for games that I really know at an in-person event. Because prior to this, I did commentary for Maxi's Lord of the Rings Return of the King run, which is a game I know like on a casual level, and I did learn some of the speedrun stuff. I actually know the speedrun for that game. I just never bothered to do it. And Control for Demonic Robots, I commentated for his All Bosses category. And whenever I commentate for a game like those, I'm, you know, very much like a light color commentary. I do some lore dumping. I bridge the gap for laymen. That's kind of what I do there. And I also talked about, like, in Control Run specifically, like how much I enjoyed the early budding days of that. But with Shinobi and Dirge of Cerberus, I was really able to dig in my heels and really talk about what I knew about the games on a speedrun level, and shoot the shit with people that either knew the game, in NT's case, or in Mello and PT's case, they didn't necessarily know the speedrun, but they were happy to bounce off of me. I think I need to get a little bit better about riffing with color commentators, like purely color commentators specifically. But other than that, I felt really good about what I brought to the table for those runs, specifically with Cypherin, as well, because he was very focused on the game. So it was pretty much all on me to be the informative commentator.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I thought that run was very well executed from all of you guys commentating together. I thought it was very, very well done.
Yeah, it was a real treat to especially commentate with Mello, because Mello is a guy that I've known for a couple of years, and I've always wondered what it would like to be on the mic with him. And he seems like he's kind of growing into his own in terms of being a commentator.
I think
now.
This was his first couch gig, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's only done hosting
That
before
can't be
this.
right.
Second, I think it's like his second or third, because he
It's like
really
one of
got
his
into it
first.
last year. Yeah, it's one of his
I remember him
first.
saying that. So
I'm sorry, I don't know
I
the
had-
names. Is this Dirge or is this Shinobi?
This is Shinobi.
this is Shinobi.
Okay.
Brutal
Mello's the
Mello
black
is
GDQ host.
he's the
Okay.
he's the he's
I mean, you're not wrong.
Because I didn't
But it doesn't
just
make
for,
you right.
just for audience context, I
Yeah.
watched all the runs except Shinobi because I'm just a dumbass.
Yeah, so
People have been saying
Brutal
this.
Mellow is a member of the GDQ interview team, as well as hosting for Unapologetically Black and Fast and other GDQ events. Really cool.
Which means
dude.
Cole should know him because he was on the show.
For the purposes of his resume.
Cole for about an hour was black.
But and PT as well, like she and I were like shooting the shit in the practice room, and we definitely were like way more unhinged talking about Joe Musashi than we were on stage. But that was really cool to meet somebody that, I wasn't sure, because she got brought in last minute, and I was like, I don't really know how this is gonna go, but I knew that she was staff, and I kind of figured maybe it'll be all right. But she was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then you learn that she's fucking PT and she's just a goat, so it's just like, it just works out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I will say that in terms of Cypherin's run, I kind of want to grind Hatsuma because I feel like Hatsuma needs to be shown in modern day, which is the main character of Shinobi. But Cypherin did a really great job showing off Joe Musashi, which is the original protagonist of the original Shinobi series, not the PS2 games. And that's just a harder category in general. And I probably would have fumbled 1,000 times over compared to him. But credit to him, he is a very consistent runner. I feel like he inspired me a little to finally do some full runs of the game because, like I mentioned in the GDQ VOD that I mostly do individual levels, which is true because that game is hard. Dirge was, I think, definitely a special moment though because it was the culmination of like 10 plus years of people's efforts to get this, black sheep of the Final Fantasy series into the event, and it comes up and people are just memeing it up, having a great time and really appreciating the level of skill that goes into that run. I even had somebody tell me in one of the room parties that I was in, he said, like 99% of runs, when somebody says, oh, this is really fucking hard, I'm like, I take their word for it, but it doesn't look hard on the surface, right? But in terms of like the glitches in Dirge and how hard they were, he said he could just immediately tell how tough they were.
That game looks as hard as it probably is, like straight up.
So,
I mean, from watching it on stream, like the mashing that guy had to do,
it's so precise.
It's crazy. It did look a lot like jerking off, but it was really.
Do you also jerk off like this?
What? Sure.
No. But you don't see that. You just see like that's all.
Asexual. Is that how you jerk off? You just poke the tip of it and then it goes.
Well, the thing is, on the camera, you don't see his hands. You just see his arms.
Yeah, he does.
You just see him go like that. But no, that run was fantastic.
Is he like doing stenography on his dick? Is that how you jerk off? Yes. I don't know. I'm an
That is actually how you do it word for word, bar for bar.
Yeah.
Guys on the Patreon, we're gonna do a showcase on how to jerk off.
How to jerk off.
I'm a visual learner
while playing Dirges Cerberus. So I had a wonderful time.
Anyway.
It's always great to be back at SGDQ. And in Minneapolis it was like 70 degrees there, and here it's like 90, and I'm just dying.
I think the most difference is that like I went to Minneapolis, I was like, oh shit, I should have like packed pants or whatever, and then I got off my plane when I landed in Tennessee, and I walked outside, and I was like, and it's like 12 a.m. and I was like, it is hotter right now than it was the entire time at Minneapolis. Yeah, and that's all I have to say about it. That's all I have to say about it.
Yep.
Dude, I had to buy more underwear because I just ran out, and I usually pack double what I need.
Hey yo, the asexuals running out of underwear? That's wild.
No, I would go walk to like Target or something 5 minutes away and come back, and like I'd have to change because it was like wringing out a sponge. It was nasty. It was like I try to avoid going out
context
as
diabetes
much as possible.
He gets really
context
hot really
diabetes,
easy.
but also I went to school in Rochester, New York, so I'm used to 40-degree weather. It's snowing sideways, and I'm out there in like light sweatpants and a hoodie. I just avoid the cold way better, right?
I was gonna say you are that guy.
I am that guy.
That's
Dude,
fair.
I need to go to an AGQ just to see Jax not suffer outside,
Yeah.
So
But-
I'll pass the torch over to you guys. How was your SGDQ?
Okay, Jaxler, go.
Briefly.
Yeah, it sucked. No, I'm just kidding.
People have been
so
saying
this-
this.
What?
Whoa!
I would probably, for me, this was probably the most stressful GDQ for me of all time. And
see that.
there's a couple of reasons for that. So first of all, I was going into this GDQ not getting to experience what's called day zero, which is where like the Saturday before the actual charity marathon starts, where you get in there, like, not everything's open yet. People are there coming in and like you just get to spend time with people kind of before all the major festivities start, right? So I didn't get to have that.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get to, because I was coming from a wedding. And from that wedding, I had
Congratulations
to
on
basically for a whole
getting married.
weekend. No, it's not me. It's my cousin. But essentially at this wedding, I had to pretend to be neurotypical for a whole weekend, and I also had to pretend to be straight for a whole weekend.
Oh.
And so that was
I'm gonna
exhausting.
do it. I'm so sorry.
Well, you don't gotta pretend. Anywho, so I'm going to GDQ. I get there on like the first day of the event at like 5:30 p.m. And then Chibi Robo is on like Tuesday afternoon, like 12:45. I think that's what it ended up being at.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for those of you who don't know, Chibi Robo is inarguably my favorite game of all time.
Yep.
And the Chibi Robo community has been trying to get into GDQ for the better part of a decade. And so it finally got in. And so it was lockout bingo. And as opposed to a standard, beat the game speedrun, right? And there was a lot that had to go into that in terms of prep work before we even got on stage. We had to make sure that the commentators knew what the objectives were going to be ahead of time. We had to work with the tech crew to make sure layouts and things worked and we understood what the expectations were. Since Kobe and I weren't allowed to hear anything externally, we had to meet with the host. We had to communicate with restreamers. It was way more difficult getting up till that point, as opposed to actually being on stage. And then on top of that, we got asked to do like a donation incentive, like very last minute. So Kobe and I had to throw together a glitch exhibition very, very quickly, which did get met as well, which was really cool. And we got to show off some cool stuff.
That was awesome.
Chibi Robo went extremely well. It was, I could have played better, but it was really close. Probably was the run that had, I would call the GDQ meme of the event, which was the whole divorce bit, which was great.
That was a great.
Yeah.
And it was just a good showing of the game, and it was close. Yeah. So
I mean, it didn't help that Kobe played out her fucking mind.
Dude,
Like-
Yeah,
Kobe played lights
Kobe-
out.
Kobe
Yeah.
was in her set, dude. The moment that she fucking
was in her
denied
bag,
you,
dude.
yeah, once she denied you the divorce objective, like you had wasted so much time, and I was like, how the hell is he gonna recover this?
I would disagree because doing divorce hits a couple of flags that allow other objectives to become clearable.
That's fair. Yeah, that's totally
So
fair. Yeah,
it wasn't a lost cause.
totally fair.
So yeah, I'll wait to blow my nose. That being said, I could have played better, but Kobe played lights out. And if I made a couple of better decisions here and there, it would have been very, very, very close. I just made some plays based off of some wrong information. And that's how lockout bingo goes. It's an information war, right? But performance aside, it was maybe the most emotional thing I've ever been a part of. I don't really want to spoil it for anybody, but we do shout outs at the end of the glitch exhibition. And Single Scoop, who was probably my first friend in speedrunning, or one of two, gave sort of like a 3-minute shout out speech at the end. And I'm not the type to cry. And I was a little bit of waterworks on my end. So I'll just say, maybe we'll link it in the description or something. But you should go watch it. It fucked me up a bit. So that was emotional, right? And then
I'm just gonna say that white boy was spitting. Like, that's what I'm gonna say. I don't actually know if he's. I don't know if he's white. Actually,
I don't know either.
Close enough.
But I mean, yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Boy was spitting. That individual was expressing himself in a rather articulate manner. Let me tell you.
And if you
what.
know Single Scoop, he is pretty quiet, and he's not really the type to like. You wouldn't expect that kind of
to launch. Yeah.
Yeah. He was. It was like he was waiting his whole life for that.
It was so endearing. It really caught me off guard when I was watching it, and then he was. And then he did the message in Japanese as well, which I was like, That's so cool.
Yeah. So
Like, that
to
was
clarify
super cool.
on that, for your context, Cole, as well for the podcast, to clarify on that, we have 2 members of the Chibi Robo community from Japan who have been with us kind of since the beginning. You have who goes right now by Kugane, who has the world record on the Japanese GameCube version of the game and has found a lot of stuff. He was the first one to implement Shining Sarge's shoes, which saved like 90 seconds. It's the whole thing, right? And then Geshi Mochi, who was a tasser for the main 3 Chibi Robo games that people care about, which is the one we just played, Park Patrol on the DS, and then Clean Sweep, which was the kind of actual sequel to Chibi Robo on GameCube that only released in Japan. And so he's tasked all 3 of those and has done an amazing amount of work, and is also basically anytime Chibi Robo has been in a marathon, Geshi Mochi has been on Japanese restream. And that's a big part of the reason why Scoop went out of his way to speak in Japanese and write a message in Japanese for the 2 of them, is because he knew the 2 of them would be listening. And
That's
he wanted
awesome.
to do something special for them.
Yeah, dude.
So,
yeah.
So, it was an amazing thing. And, I mean, shoot, with the, with the glitch exhibition, we raised like 10 grand for that, which is, I was saying this a lot throughout the week to a bunch of people, but especially with regards to Chibi Robo, I'm really not used to people caring about it. And just the amount of people that came up to not only just me, but Kobe and the other people as well, just talking about how amazing it was or how much they enjoyed it, or, it was unbelievable. And that was just the first bit of the week, right? So 30-minute cry, 30-minute shit, 30-minute cold shower later.
Damn, he did shit in the he did cold shower into shit.
Hold on, I just caught that. 30
Wait,
minutes
did
of
I
shitting?
Oh, well, okay, let me be
you
clear.
shower after the
Clans,
shit?
that
I
gets
don't
you
know.
sitting there
Maybe
forever.
that's-
No, hold on. Oh, I got the order of operations mixed up. It was I cried a little bit. The crying and the shitting were kind of happening at the same time. And so
stuff coming out of both ends, bro.
in reality, I was really only shitting for like at most 5 to 10 minutes. But you know how when you're on the shitter and you just get stumlocked by Twitter, that's kind of where I was at.
Oh, okay. Fair. Yeah.
And so then I took a 30-minute cold shower, and that was bliss.
Would you say you were stunned shitless?
Oh, well, I wasn't shitless. I get the anxiety shit. So there's a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Shit
fair
full,
enough.
as they say.
Oh, yeah.
Shitful, yeah. Stunned shitful.
But
Continue.
and then after that, we have the podcast. That was that Tuesday night? Yeah, it was Tuesday
Yeah,
night.
it was Tuesday.
night.
So literally the night after, we sit down for the podcast recording
Night
for
of.
the last episode. Night of.
Night of.
And then
Night of,
Thursday morning, I do Stuart too. Which I am, I'm curious to hear Cole's thoughts on. But I didn't take it all too seriously. In fact, I had not finished a full any percent run up until that point since like 8 months ago. And I actually played really good, which was funny.
You did.
Yeah, you did.
But it was also a giant meme fest, and I didn't want to take Stuart too seriously, but I thought it was really good. And then after Stuart was done, I finally felt like I got to go back to my main sort of like, oh, I'm at GDQ, I have expendable time that I can hang with who I want when I want, kind of fluidly, right? So up until that point, it felt very regimented, which is not something I was really all that accustomed to. So that's kind of the long and short of my GDQ experience. We also went to Rainforest Cafe in Margaritaville that week, which was
what?
Dog shit, but the
That was
vibes are
so-
great.
oh yeah, the food was dog shit, but the vibes were immaculate.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
man.
like I think it was Oz who organized it, but I don't know who came up with the joke of like pre-gaming Margaritaville by going to Rainforest Cafe. And honestly, we should have just gone to Margaritaville. Hopefully we can skip that step next time. But like, goddamn.
Wow, you're gonna disrespect Rainforest Cafe like that?
It's not good.
Oh, the food was awful. There was an animatronic ape.
Yeah, but
that was just
Jerking off.
fucking jorking it.
animatronics. That's
but he was
awesome,
fucking-
dude.
No, he was fucking stroking it in front of
What
children.
do you mean? That's so fun. Well, okay, whoa, all right. Now that I don't.
There were children in that cafe. Let me tell you
No,
what.
but they
And
got
that-
the elephants, and then there's
Dr.
the
Disrespect
thunderstorm
was
in
last
there.
episode, Cole. You can't be
Yeah.
doing this right now.
Hey,
well, 2 episodes
I
ago
didn't know
now.
about the no.
The children, yeah. Fair
oh my
enough.
god.
All right. Well, speaking of, never mind. I guess I'll go.
What about you? Yeah. Hey, you with the face.
I'll
You
go.
go.
My GDQ is pretty good. I would say it was better than the last time. Last time I was like pretty strict on like how I played and basically all my prep work, because my run last year was on a Friday. My run this year is on a Friday. And so the shitty part about being later on in the week is that you have to practice more during the week, so you have less things to like have fun with. But this year I didn't give a shit about that. Mainly because like Fire Emblem is not a very technical game. Like I don't really need to be super on the ball in order to get like underestimate. All I need to do is just like not make a mistake, which sounds funny in the context of speedrunning, but like it's kind of easy to not make a mistake in Fire Emblem. You just fucking pay attention and just ensure your inputs a bit more, and then like you shouldn't mess up. I messed up like one time, but it was in not very of an important spot, so
it was like a minute, right?
Yeah, it was like a minute or two. Like I still got a 114, I believe, but like so essentially last year, like my run was at 11 a.m. on Friday, and that was Lunistis, which is a lot more technically demanding. And also I was going for a record on that run, actively, which I was like this close to getting, then I made a mistake. But this time I was just like, I went into it, I was like, you know, I could be responsible, or I could just stay up for 24 hours 2 times. And so that's exactly what I did. And I would say that I had a more fun time because of that, just because I was around more people more. And I also just knew more people this time, and I could like bounce between, because commonly what I would do is I would hang out with like Cosmic and Dan like in the morning, and then I would flip and then like hang out with Jax and Kobe and them at night. And that was kind of my general routine. I think like overall it was just a fine experience. Last time it was kind of it was below average last time, I think. But this time I would say it was average. I'm not mad about spending the money this time. Last time I was like, was this worth it? Probably not, but this time was a lot better. I think it's just the sunk cost fallacy of just having to go to multiple GDQs to get to know more people. And I definitely met more people this time than last time, which is funny.
Oh yeah.
And then I met some people again that I didn't know that I met before. Most notably Dangerous, because he came up to me.
Oh, James,
yeah, he was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And I'm like, "I don't know who you are."
Who are you?
I don't. And it was a very fun interaction because I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend to know you. I'm just like, hey, man, I'll just be so real. I don't remember from last time, which was kind of funny. But my run itself went better than I could have ever possibly imagined. I think it was hands down the best thing I've ever done online, just in general, and I feel pretty comfortable saying that, which is funny because the prep work going into it, I was like doing commentary work and stuff beforehand, and I was like, dude, I fucking suck. It was bad. I was stuttering over everything. I was like not even hitting the points I wanted to hit. I was not hitting any of the funny bits that I had planned out. Like it was all in shambles. And then lo and behold, I get on stage and then I just become the most unhinged human of all time. And then that's exemplified by PT also being the most unhinged human of all time. And then
well, PT of being on your couch wasn't even part of your original plan.
No,
that's
like PT messaged me, I think like a day before the run, or 2 days before the run. And she was like, yo, can I be on your couch? And up until this point, I actually don't really know PT. Like I've never really talked to her like at all, besides like, you know, I run the UBAF and Juneteenth events, which she organizes, but like, yeah, we don't have that much back and forth. I pretty much just show up, play, and I'm like, peace. That's kind of how I roll, just in general online, just because I'm not really on Twitter that much. So this is like my first time like actually talking to her, and like on the stage was the first time we had talked the most ever. Which is hilarious because before the run we'd like said a couple things to each other, but it was like I was just like, yeah, I'm down to have you on the couch, because I don't know, I just thought the vibe shift was good. And the main reason I did it actually is just because I had already done the run solo, and I thought I'd do a very good job with the run solo, but like basically, like, how do I put this, like putting someone else on the couch kind of intimidated me because I hadn't done it before with this game. And because of that, I was like, I'm going to put someone else on the couch. just because typically if you're ever afraid to do something, you should just do the thing because it'll probably make it better. And I think it was 100% the right to, I think it was 100% the right decision. I think it just like worked out more than perfectly. There were so many great bits that just came up because her name is Vanessa, which is the same as a character in the game, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then she dropped Twitter destroying your mind, which is all you need to know.
Yeah.
Really funny bit.
Yeah.
It was so good. And so that run went over very, very well. Shout outs to Popular Game Privilege getting in for no reason, by the way.
I will say it is still cosmically funny to me that Stuart got an infinitely better times. No, not you. Sorry.
Oh.
That eat shit about it. It's still incredibly funny to me that Stuart got like a way better time.
Both your games did. Yeah.
Both of my games did.
And I got 5
I mean,
a.m. on a
Chibi Robo is
Friday.
Nintendo, but I mean, fucking Stuart, like really?
Yeah,
weird.
it was kind of whatever, but I think it kind of worked out because the people who knew, and I think like what also helped is that like since it was at an ungodly hour, I actually got more chatter online about the run. Like I got a Reddit thread on speedrun, which probably wouldn't have happened if I wasn't at 5 a.m. because people would have just assumed that you saw the run, right? So I think that helps, and then obviously I think what also helps is I'm playing fucking Fire Emblem, so the VOD's just gonna do well. And it is.
Yeah.
It has more views in 3 days than my Lunistus run did over a year. So that's like kind of all you need to know.
Wow.
Yeah.
But outside of the run, the whole event, it was pretty solid. I'm excited to go again. However, I won't be going back for a while just because I'm broke as fuck. And I want to be unbroke.
Hey, that makes two of us.
True.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Not Jax though. But I guess I'll just hand it off to Cole because Cole is the person not at the event, so he actually watched all of our runs besides the Shinobi run because he's a fake. Actually, before I hand it off, speaking of fake fucking bitches, this motherfucking nigga on your screen, Jaxler1, doesn't shout out the podcast at the end of either of his runs. I'll give him a pass for Chibi Robo, but Stuart, like, come on, man, it's fucking Stuart.
You were on my couch. You could have done it too.
Shout out the goddamn podcast, man.
I saw the fingers roll and be like, "Hey, you need to get going." I'm like,
nigga,
okay.
your outro was 30 seconds. No one was rushing you. Anyway, this guy's a fake bitch.
They were behind.
He's a fake bitch.
They were behind
5
schedule
minutes
already.
underestimate
So.
too, or something.
Have you considered taking your own life?
Multiple times. He's a fake bitch, though. Cole, go ahead.
All right. Well,
Considered ending it all. Anyway,
so because I'm just gonna go and talk about the first run I watched, which was the only one that I actually watched live because I'm a broke motherfucker and I didn't want to spend $1,000 to go to a petri dish to get sick with friends. I was like,
damn.
I'm gonna go home. So I went home where I got free housing and free food and free laundry, and I just hung out and saw a ton of people. But I was busy every day, so I looked at the GDQ schedule and I was like, okay, I can't. I'm staying at a friend's house that night. I'm doing this and doing that, and then I saw
This guy's popular, by the way.
A 6 a.m. time slot for Fire Emblem, and I'm like, I guess I could technically watch that live, and so.
I like how we can watch the 6 a.m. live, but not the 8 a.m. live.
Or the 10:30 a.m.
Because anyway,
you're just having gay sex or whatever. You know.
Anyway,
I made him think. Holy shit!
So does anybody here have an Apple phone?
I do not.
No.
Yeah.
Fuck Apple.
I mean, I agree.
Guys,
but
next episode we're going to talk about how much we hate Apple for an hour straight.
I'm going to give I hate Steve Jobs rant.
Oh my gosh,
yeah, I'm going to give. I gave that speech like 3 times at GDQ, by the way.
Anyway, go ahead.
Great.
Before we hate Apple, go ahead.
You're right. All right. Okay. So you know that one Apple alarm that's like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I set my alarm to that sound, and my bedroom door is open. The whole house heard my alarm at like 5:55 a.m. My mom came in. She was like, "What are you doing? Like, could it be any louder? Do you need to be that loud?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, Mom. I accidentally turned it on. I don't know what happened." And then I turned over and I watched the Fire Emblem, and I saw PT on the couch. And at first I was like, "Who is this? Who's speaking for my boy Nestani? What's going on?" I was a little like, what's the deal? And then
is he spoken for?
It just worked. It worked so well. I loved that run. I didn't even feel groggy during it, even though I only got like 4 hours of sleep. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was fantastic. I think because we kind of talked about this too, is that you were there was one part of the run that you were kind of concerned about, like it being entertaining or engaging for the people, and that's like when you start doing enemy control glitch. And I thought that was like so cool, like having PT react to that, and then you're kind of just like, guess just what's gonna happen. Like, what do you think the best thing's gonna do? And then she's like, I don't know, maybe like this. And you're like, no, I'm just gonna fucking control them. Like they are my fucking puppets, and I'm going to control them. I was
my turn.
That was
my
awesome.
turn.
Yeah, my turn.
I don't know if you
so that.
I don't know if you saw the YouTube video, but there's a comment on there where somebody says, "What if you wanted to go to heaven, but God said, my turn?"
There's so many godlike comments on that
It's
video,
great.
dude.
Yeah.
There's also just the my turn with like the 2 nerd emojis.
With the nerd emoji, yeah.
So good.
So
Great.
But
Keep going.
that's
Yeah.
all I have to say about Fire Emblem, because you kind of answered my putting someone on the couch kind of question that I had. But the first one, that's the first one I watched, and then I went on Twitter one day and I saw Stuart Little 2 clip from GDQ about the and for audio listeners, I'm like waving my arms
dude.
around like it's the roller coaster thing, and I was like, okay, that run I'm gonna save that one for last, because I think that one I will just like thoroughly enjoy the most. Like I planned this out. So I got back to my apartment on Sunday, and so Monday I basically just chilled and I just watched GDQ stuff. But I only looked at the VODs because I didn't know, like an idiot, that they released it on YouTube. And so I was looking for Shinobi, and I was like, oh, the past broadcast isn't up. Oh well, I guess I'll just have to wait for it when they upload it. And then lo and behold, Nestani does a stream where he's reacting to his thing, and I'm like, is that on YouTube? And then I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
well, whatever. So I watched Chibi Robo, and that was I loved watching that one. That was a great starting off. And I mean, I was gonna ask if like, and you said you couldn't hear anything, right?
No. So we had
What was that
isolation
like?
headsets on. So one of the things I actually had to do, this didn't get mentioned on the stream, is I actually had my AirPods underneath these headphones so I could actually fully block everything out. Because Chibi Robo sometimes has this problem where it, like
Music cuts out at nighttime.
like there's music will just cut out on you.
Okay.
And so because of that, it can kind of mess with you if you don't plan around that, right?
Yeah.
So
So he had AirPods in. Kobe had these on.
But I
These are
could
my kick-ass
hear when
headphones.
people were cheering. I could hear roughly that like something like specifically what was happening in terms of like, oh, they must be like reacting to a funny like donation, or like people were just generally getting hype. But it was I was very much like I was in my own silo. I was on my own island.
He was in his
Nice.
bag, as
Okay.
they say.
I
I was
just-
very nervous too. I should be very clear as well.
That's okay. That's what else I was gonna ask, because I feel like if I was in that position and I was like the entire outside world, which I know is looking upon me, but I cannot sense them in any other way. Like that was, I would have been like wilding out. I would have.
It was a lot. And I feel like Kobe handled that a lot better than I did, honestly. I think I was also just putting a lot of pressure on because I knew Kobe was going to play crazy good. My goal going into that was just to be, I need to make sure this is as close as possible, whatever the outcome of the match is. And so there was a point where I thought I was going to get blown out completely. And you kind of saw that a little bit where it was like 2-9 or whatever. And I was slowly starting to chip away back at it. But, you know, there was a good bit in there where I'm just like, oh my God, I'm beefing it really bad. Like this is the opposite of what I was supposed to do, you know? Luckily that's not how it turned out, but it's like, it was a lot emotionally.
I bet. I mean, but I gotta say, like, you say that, but when I was watching you, like, you looked totally calm. Like you were locked in. Like you were, and you could tell that the prep was done. And like I thought the couch worked. Like the couch was fantastic in my opinion. Like they were great.
Can I tell you a
commentators
little
for what's
bit of
going
insider info? Haxxi, who is on the rightmost side of that couch, they originally did not want to be on couch. We had to beg Haxxi to be on couch, even though, as you probably noticed, one of the most knowledgeable people about Chibi Robo and especially the lockout bingo on Planet Goddamn Earth.
Dude, they were lights out on the mic. Like, so
Oh
good.
my god.
Everything they said
'Cause,
was
like-
just so valuable.
Yeah, because Haxxi didn't like, as you saw, like didn't talk the entire time or like all that often. But when Haxxi did talk, it was extremely relevant and like really pushed the whole thing forward, right? So that's my that's
Okay.
Haxxi.
Shout out to Haxxi.
That's cool though.
Shout out to
Haxxi is
but,
my goal for real, for real.
I don't know them very well, but they seem cool.
But no, I mean, I didn't grow up with Chibi Robo, but like, I watched a Sonic Let's Player who just one day just played that game as a spinoff, and I was like, that game looks really cute and fun, and I like how it does like do 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 when you climb stuff and like musical cues and stuff like that. And so that kind of like flashed me back to that moment, and I was like, man, I should have sat down. Like, I need to play these games. But yeah, I thought the Chibi Robo run was excellent. And then the next one I watched was Dirge.
Dirge.
I just want to wait. Actually, okay. I just want to say this is that GDQ crowd, like chat and crowd, they are like, you guys all are so good at like finding a bit and then just like running with it the whole time. Like Divorce,
You're welcome.
Dirge,
Old
you
man.
know.
I just want to say, I want to take credit for the Dirge run. I'm just saying,
My turn.
I started the I'm gonna Dirge shit in the crowd. I did it like 3 times before the run even fucking started at the top
That's
of my
true,
lungs in
yeah.
the room by myself.
That's awesome.
It did help that the host had tuned into Dan's streams, so she knew all of the like memes that
That's
we were
true,
doing.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
the
she
host is
started
very
out with like,
cooperative.
everybody, it's Dirgin time. Here's Dynamite Dan, you know?
So good.
And then like just I think Jaxler, I think you said like I'm gonna Dirge 2 in the crowd right before the run started.
yeah.
Or
Oh, I
Yeah,
when
we-
it started,
we both
yeah.
did, yeah.
Yeah, you both like were the
We were
launch
dirging
pad.
it up
Yeah,
on the
yeah, you
back
were
couch.
We went complete Dirge mode.
It was
We said 3, 2, 1
so
Dirge.
fun. Dude, it was so fun watching these and then being like, oh my god, look, there's Nestani. Hey, there's the background. Wow. And they're
Look,
like,
here,
oh,
there I am.
yeah. Oh, dude, that was. But anyway, so yeah, then I watched Dirge, and you know, I saw. I don't know anything about Final Fantasy. All right. But if this game was shown to me when I was like probably late middle school, early high school, I would have fucking eaten it up.
Oh yeah.
That would have
dude.
been my shit. Like a vampire guy with a gun, like completely
Yeah,
like geared up,
fucking
and you're just jumping around,
bang.
and you're shooting. That shit's awesome. That's like Sonic the
I'm
Hedgehog.
gonna shoot this guy with a bow. Bang.
bang.
But
Sorry.
also, I mean, just visually, the game looks really interesting to watch in the run. And I noticed that you and the guy who was sitting right next to you, I don't know his name.
NT.
You two bounced off of each other very well on couch.
Yep.
Yeah. I think
So-
it's one of those things where he and I both come from fighting game commentary. So he's trained primarily in that. So he's trained in a lot of short form commentary and like play by play. Whereas I obviously started in FGC commentary, but a lot of my commentary experience is in the long form of speed running. So him like he is, you know, as one of the major routers of the game and somebody that's like really dug into it, he was able to you know, bridge a lot of gaps in my knowledge. And he and I shoot the shit all the time. So that was us just like riffing back and forth in a voice call, basically. So
No,
it was a
cool.
lot of fun. Yeah, it was dope.
That's awesome. And you know, so when I was watching it, my roommate, he's addicted to Final Fantasy 14 right now because I don't know, whatever.
Dawn Trail.
Out. Anyway,
Contrail,
you hate to see it, but I asked him, I was like, hey, have you ever heard of Dirges Cerberus? And he was like, dude, Dirges Cerberus? Like, what made you bring that up? And I was like, I got a friend speedrunning on GDQ, and he's like, no way. He's like, I should go watch it. And so he might go and watch it. I don't know if he has or
Hell
not
yeah.
yet. I haven't talked to him.
Hashtag-
That's how we get
Hashtag
people. That's how you get people.
That's
to
how you get
speedrun
them
it.
every time. Yeah, I will
But,
say too
yeah,
that
yeah.
like the current route of Dirge, like with that glitch in it, I think was really going to be the only way the game made it into a GDQ with as much hype as it got. Because prior to Zoom climbs being found, the run was about 15 minutes longer, and it was mostly just play game fast, one-shot bosses, some turret sections, you know. So having having like the one forced turret section, but
At the start,
basic-
yeah.
yeah, at the start, which is totally fine, you know, because it gave us time for donations. It was a good break, you know, from just how much is being thrown at you in the first level. And then there's 0 turret sections, and it's just go, go, go for the rest of the game. That, I think, was what the Dirge community had waited for, was a glitch like that needed to, like, was there to break up the game and just make it more interesting to watch. Because it was a really good speedrun before, but when a game is just play game fast and one-shot bosses, it can be a harder sell at around the hour and a half mark, you know?
Yeah. No,
So-
I would agree. But and then finally
enjoyed it.
I watched and then I watched Stuart, and Stuart was so fun to watch. It was so fun. I loved that you had one person on the couch who knew exactly everything that was going to happen, and then the other 2 people are like, am I on acid? Like, did I just take a tab? Like, what's going on here? Yeah, that's the disappointing thing about watching it, is like, I'm sure being in the audience and like, you know, doing the hand motions or like everybody kind of grunting or whatever, like that would have been so funny to be part of it. Like, you couldn't, wow, you
Group
recreated
grunting.
it really well. What the fuck?
The grunt tech.
Damn. You couldn't hear that well in the VOD, but
I've listened to the game way too many
Dude.
times. I know all the voice lines by heart, and I'm really good at replicating them.
Yeah,
it's
Stuart.
it's just like Fright's voice lines. I just got it on lock, man.
yeah. But I was not expecting you. You know what? I'll just say just in case anybody goes and go watch it. First of all, I'm not going to spoil the climactic ending. But like, I was not expecting the final boss to be that, because I actually don't think I've ever seen like the end game before. But I was not expecting you. I was not expecting you to do what you did with those discs. And just as someone who collects things, I was like,
What is wrong with you?
what is going on? And you know, the first disc that you handed, I thought you took that fucking thing out of the console and just gave it to them. Like, I didn't know you had other copies. So like, I thought it was like a
That would've been
crazy
funny.
glitch or something you were about to.
That
So
would've
I
been
was like,
so
damn,
neat.
he
That
just
would've been
took
so
it
neat.
out and gave it to him. Like, I was like, whoa. But yeah. Oh, and you know, this is another question I had, and I don't know if it was just the microphones, but like, were you like losing your voice or anything like during like the end of Chibi Robo or Stuart, or no? It might have just been a mic thing.
Who? Me or Jax?
Jax, sorry.
Well, at the end of Chibi Robo, I was actually crying. And then in Stuart, my voice had started to get shot over the course of the week. So I think that's part of it too. Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious because I was like, oh man, dude, it sounds like he's been working the vocal cords. But that was very, very minor. Like, I didn't really, it didn't.
It's just because you know
that
him.
much at all. Yeah, exactly. Like, if I didn't know him, I'd be like, that's just his voice. But that's all my rambling about it. I was being a little cheerleader. I was like, yay, you guys are great. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Could you make your speedruns a little bit shorter though, guys? Like, oh my gosh. Like,
What do
I
you
was here
mean?
for hours watching you guys. Goodness gracious.
My
Can you
run
make
was
them,
an
like,
hour
a
and
half
14
an
minutes.
hour?
What do you mean?
Technically, you never watched
Stuart-
me run,
Stuart
because
was
my run didn't make it in. My run didn't make it in from back.
You want us to
I
play
lugged-
fucking
True.
Subway
Actually,
Surfer?
Stuart-
Does that
Stuart-
make you happy?
Ratios.
I lugged my PS5 all the way
I'm
to
just kidding.
Minnesota and did not touch that shit once.
One
That
time.
shit sat in the fucking
serious?
backpack. Yeah, no, it
That's
sat in my
funny.
backpack in the room the whole time. Because I have run DMC5 so many fucking times that I was not touching that shit until they were like, oh, by the way, you're on call. I'd have been like, all right, I'm going to the practice room right the fuck now, you know. But I will say, there is a very liberating feeling about being in the line to pick up my runner badge and them saying to me, are you running a game that's on PC? And getting to answer with all the sincerity in my heart, no.
No.
Because I do not, I did not want to
It's
install.
so
'cause
nice,
not having to
dude.
not having to install shit like on their PCs. I was like,
It
Oh,
is
thank
actually
God,
so
bro.
nice. That was definitely
Oh,
like
is
so
that
bad.
really annoying? Like,
It is.
running a PC.
It can be,
game?
yeah.
It
So-
is
so
because
here's
there's
the
just
thing.
so many things out of your control. At least I'll let you go in a second, but for me, it's a very short answer
Yeah.
of there's a lot of things out of your control. Specifically, I was locked to 60 FPS during the Lunistus run, and I had input lag, so it was really fucking hard, and I still almost got record. Like,
Oh, I think
suck my dick. But like
Yeah,
that,
so-
like there's
Like,
just so many variables there,
I'm
and
gonna
like
pass.
it depends on it depends on
It
your
depends
luck.
on the
My
port.
luck was bad. Some other people went up that same weekend. They were like, "Nah, my shit was good," and I was like, "Good for
There's
you."
also like it's also a big deal if you're playing on something on Steam versus on another platform. So like
Yeah.
for example, if I
Yeah.
have to install one of my Abandonware games from like the early 2000s, then it's gonna be a fucking nightmare to get set up.
Another bound Neo.
No.
Yeah, versus just like installing Lunistus, which
I'm sorry,
is a
that's never
fairly
been-
easy install because it's so
There's
small.
simply no way.
But it's also like if you have like a big game like Devil May Cry, it's just gonna be fucking annoying. Anyway, go on.
Yeah.
So here's the difference, okay, too, Cole, is that it also depends like on the port and when the game was released and all that sort of stuff. Because like Devil May Cry 5, right? Huge game. Took a while to install on both the computers that I installed it on back in 2020 when I did that run on PC. When I do the run again on GDQ for DMC5, it'll be on PS5, so not a big deal. But I had to install it on like 3 or 4 PCs for practice and for the run itself. And that just took a while. Now, DMC5 is a very well optimized game. So it was nothing doing. Like, it was totally fine, to like run on their computers and everything. And I saved like 10 minutes RTA on the loads on those computers that they had at the time. Just because my computer at home at the time was pretty shitty. But, fast forward to 2023, when I do DMC4, they have these new computers. They're all on Windows 11. I installed DMC4 on one of the stream computers. I think actually on both of them. And it runs totally fine. I'm like, oh, sick, awesome. And then I go to the practice room and I install it there. And I install it on multiple PCs. So what happens? It opens up. And there's a black window, just all black screen, and then it closes. And I had to do a run the first day of the event at like 10 p.m. So thank God I had my fucking laptop with me to practice. Because I got up on that stage and like I had my laptop with me just in case shit did not work straight up. But I got on stage and like Maxi and Waifu were, coming onto the stage too. And I opened up Steam on the stream computer and I went like this when it fucking opened and started playing, because I wasn't sure if the thing running on other instances on the computer, or like being installed on new devices or anything, would affect its install on these other computers, because DMC4 is a fucking neural network that knows when you're speedrunning it and it fucks you over. It is some black magic chaos energy sort of game. But that was like the scariest thing that's happened to me, because like Max's girlfriend Biddy was standing off camera with my laptop in her hands just in case. She had to run it up to me so that I could be like, guys, if I'm going to do this run, you will have to capture my laptop. There is no other way, And then there's instances where like True Crime New York City runs better on Windows 11 than it does on older Windows.
That's insane. That can't be right.
And the PMC said that, and you can find it in the VOD too, where he's like,
Oh, I
it's
don't
cursed.
doubt him, but also fuck him. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, it's
Wow.
it's a very mixed bag. I will say that, especially for these new PC runs, which as I get further and further into speedrunning, I keep running older and older games. So to avoid things like this, right? To avoid having to run on newer PCs and keep up with the rigs and all that sort of shit. And it's partially because of how much of a hassle it is to set it up at an external event, outside of my house. So yes, it's like being able to just go, no, I am not running a game on PC. Was very freeing,
Yeah. The only thing that's annoying is that you have to like bring your console, which can be a little stressful. I mean, Cosmic saw my impeccable packing technique with just the towel around my GameCube, and I was like, please don't break. I mean, I don't know.
Yep.
Which I circumvented by it was my carry-on bag, but it's still like, I don't know. It's still a little stressful, but
Yeah,
overall
I don't know how
listener.
many in person. I don't know how many in person marathon runs you've done, Cole.
None.
But it is definitely
None.
it's
I don't think
unfortunate.
Yeah. Not a
I
single
think
one.
it's definitely something.
Have you
cool
done a
to do,
marathon run?
like
Like outside of like
I've done
you know,
one,
us?
and it was horrible games, and I was like, this is not my cup of tea. And then I
Were
was
we
like,
racing or was
I
that a
did-
solo run?
It was any percent CE.
Oh, you did creepy early
When
for
that
them.
mattered
Oh,
still.
okay.
And I'm the first and only guy to ever do that in a marathon. So,
what a flex.
You also did
honestly.
Ubath.
That was with me though,
well, I mean,
and I think we've
guess,
done.
yeah, that
other
was-
in-person
Oh,
races
solo
too.
wise though.
Yeah.
Solo wise,
yeah, solo, no.
It's
I've not
definitely
done it
a
in
cool
person.
experience. And if you ever speedrun a game on PC, you'll probably understand what I'm talking about, in the difference too, because like when I speedrun, because PMC ran a mini speedrun marathon at RGB LAN in Pennsylvania one year. And I went to that to run both Vanquish and Gungrave. And I brought I think I just had it installed on a laptop. I installed Vanquish on a laptop that he had there, and I just kind of had to pray I would get enough FPS to do stuff. But then Gungrave, I just hooked up my PS2 and it was just go, So it really teaches you sort of the little things that we take for granted in terms of setting up speedruns and just how easy it is to run from the comfort of our home versus playing in an external environment.
Yeah, because there's just so many different things that can go wrong. But like even with like, even if like their setup on stage for like consoles didn't work, I still had like my retro tank at the end of the day. So at the very minimal, all I would have to do is hand them an HDMI cable and be like, you can deal with this, right? Like,
I would have been able to because the GDQ tech team is great.
Yeah, but like their whole rigs just work very well. I think they work better for just various consoles than PC. Ironically, even though.
Mm-hmm. What were you gonna say, Cole? By the way,
I was just gonna say, I mean, it makes sense that PC would be more complicated, but I guess before this conversation, I would have assumed that it would have been easier because you wouldn't have to bring your entire hardware with you, and like all this other stuff. And
It's
you could have just
like
been
less
"All right,
annoying
here's the
travel wise,
download
but it's
thing."
more annoying to get the game like working properly.
Working on the which is, I guess I never thought about it like that, but.
yeah.
Huh.
I mean, really, the only time I think that, especially because too, you have to factor in the controller that you might use on PC. So like if I'm using,
You have
like,
to
a
install
DualSense,
drivers and shit like that.
You might have to install drivers. You
Yeah.
might have to, disable it in their audio devices on the computer, just so that when you plug it in, when you finally go to do your run, you don't have to be like, sorry, tech, let me change the sound mixer real quick, or whatever the fuck. Not to mention like here's a really good example actually. So zips in Elden Ring are hardware dependent. So
Oh no.
the Elden Ring runner at AGDQ 2024, Matress, had to find a computer where he could consistently do zips. And
Great.
then tell the tech team, this is the computer I'm going to use for this run. Because otherwise, there was a possibility he could just not do it.
Hardware specific.
Yeah. This is
Great,
also
that's
why he was
wild. That
rooting
is
for
wild.
Sekiro. Yeah, it's very wild. Like, it's one of the reasons that any percent, like true any percent in Elden Ring is like sucks and is not very popular. Because
Sheesh.
it's just fucking boom, you just zip everywhere for like 5 minutes. And then that's it. You're done. But it's all hardware dependent. So meanwhile, with PS2 or something, you can just plug it in and go.
And it just works.
It's true. It just works.
It works.
Wow.
Wow.
It just works.
Oh wow.
Well, I think
Yeah.
we're good with GDQ then, right? We're
Yeah, that's true.
we're so done.
We're so done.
We're
Good
so
times,
it's so
good
over.
vibes.
I am quite ready to get to speed running some new games.
Dude,
and
sleeping in my
shit,
own bed
so.
is really nice.
That is
It
also
is.
pretty nice. Yeah.
I'm ready
I mean,
to
I gotta buy a
execute,
new mattress, but I gotta buy a new
Skill
mattress
issue.
soon.
Dude, unlucky. I'm ready to execute.
I mean,
more
I've had
popular
mine
game
for 8
privilege. That's what I'm
years.
excited to do.
Damn.
Yeah, 8 years,
Well,
bro.
you're old.
You buy. Okay, hold on. Listen, bro.
Mm.
All right.
No, we're so
This
bad.
is a great mattress. All right. I've had this thing for 8 years. You doubt me. All right, you doubt me. But do you
Why
know
are you
how
talking about that mattress like you're talking about your wife?
Oh, I mean, fair enough, you know. But I mean, here's the thing, right? Is that like,
Oh, no.
it's rare to have something
"Here's the
that
thing."
long. Right? Here's the thing. So
It's hard to have something that long.
on.
People have been saying this.
Planned obsolescence, dude. So I was gonna say planned obsolescence makes things so like undependable that having a mattress for this long is great. You know, the fact that I haven't needed to replace it in like 8, nearly 9 years has been awesome.
I feel like there's just like an outline mold of your body just stuck in that mattress now, and you fit into like perfectly.
Oh, I don't. I
just-
hope not, dude.
What is this mystery imprint on this?
Yeah. Oh God.
Does bro have 3 legs? Like, what's going on?
Speaking of 3 legs, Jax, if you have anything to pivot to, I think now would be a great time.
Yeah. So I don't even know how much time we got to talk about.
We have a little bit.
We got a little
A
bit.
bit.
So
We got a
maybe this will be a fun little experiment. So this
Oh,
was
no.
a thing that started a little bit at AGDQ, and I bring this up as a segue to pose a question to you three.
Uh-oh.
From the context of,
Okay.
for those who don't know, I am asexual, meaning that I don't experience.
People have been saying this.
People have been saying. I've been saying this. I never shut the fuck up about it.
It's true. Yeah.
But for those who don't know, I am asexual, which means I don't experience sexual attraction towards anybody, like point blank. Period. That is not the same thing as aromantic, which means you don't experience any romantic attraction, like wanting to go on dates with people, that kind of thing, right? So last GDQ, there was this whole shebang that got started about something
boy.
called GDQ crushes, which is the idea of you go to GDQ and then you come back with apparently all these new crushes, right? And so this SGDQ, I thought it would be very funny to post like the before SGDQ ends, does anyone want to admit they have a crush on me? And then it becomes a whole thing. And so the reason I bring this up, for one, I thought it was fucking hilarious because people are down bad. But
They
also,
are.
I don't really understand the whole crush thing, if I'm going to be real. Because I can't really remember ever having a crush. So I wanted to ask you three. Well, first of all, if you had anything you wanted to say on the whole GDQ crush thing, go right for it. But also, in terms of crushes as a whole, what am I missing here? Like,
I don't really have anything to say on the GDQ crushes thing. I just know that I think Gabby or Blackheart started it last year, and I just wanted to dunk. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to hop on
Oh,
the
for
train.
sure. We love Gabby, but also get owned.
Yeah, get absolutely.
That's half the
rocked.
reason I made the post. It's just to make fun of Gabby.
This is true. But I like.
So just to give you, and sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but just to give you context, I am completely oblivious to the goings on of these kinds of things, to the point where like I'm like anxious that like somebody may have interest in me and I am unable to understand.
Reciprocate.
Well, reciprocate. That's a whole nother fucking thing.
That's fair.
It's more
yeah.
so in like social, like GDQ social settings, for example, where it's like, oh, why is this person coming and talking to me, right?
I
If
got
someone
you.
comes up and talk to me from where I came from, like, okay, so what is it that you want from me? Like, you know,
I got you.
Okay.
anyone have anything?
Well,
to
Cole,
say?
do you want to start?
Yeah, for the person that's
Dude,
been
I
on
don't know
GDQ.
any. I
I guess you could just talk about crushes.
I don't know shit. I
I don't know shit about crushes. huh?
fucking no. Here's let me tell you something right now.
Oh boy.
Have I ever told you?
No.
Have I wait? Now I'm getting my stories mixed up.
Oh no.
Have I ever told you the Popeyes chicken story?
All right. Well, so it's been a
On
great
a-
time.
All right, so
Go.
On a
So,
scale of 1 to Jim Crow, how racist is this about to be?
It's not
It's
racist.
not
It's,
What the
it's,
fuck?
it's embarrassing. Go ahead.
Oh, it's
It's just
embarrassing. Even
embarrassing.
better.
I
Okay,
made
go
fun of
for
this
it,
man
go
for like
for it.
It's not
3 months
racist
straight
at
after
all.
this. Go ahead.
Oh, he did. So I was in high school, right? It was like junior year, and I used to work in the guidance office. So like, if anybody doesn't, maybe they use
Because
different
he needed guidance to some
vocabulary.
bitches anyway.
Yeah, you need some guidance to college, and so I worked in the office, and there was this girl who I'm gonna call Martha, and Martha would come up to me, and that is Martha. What's your name, Martha? I was like, hello, Martha, how are you doing? And she was like, oh, hi, cool, how you doing? and she'd be like very nice to me, and and it was her study hall the same time I was in the office. And so we got to talking a lot, and the big meme back in high school for a little bit was Popeye's chicken sandwich. And she was
Showing
like,
his age
"Yo,
here, incredibly young.
Yo, we should go to Popeye's because there's one right down the road. We should go and get one." And I thought it was one of those jokes where it's like, dude, we should go like tip a cow, or like let's go like do something stupid, you know? And I was like, haha, yeah, we'll definitely never do that. And so then lo and behold, later down the line, I was like, oh, she had a humongous crush on me. And that was just an excuse to go on a date. Like, that was an excuse to get to know each other better. And then I became more pissed because I later ate a Popeye's chicken sandwich and it was fucking good. And I'm like, God damn it. I could have fucking eaten the sandwich and hung out with the girl. Why me? So I don't know shit about crushes. I don't know shit about dating. I have no bitches. I have no skill. Nothing.
None.
I don't know anybody.
No bitches at all. Never had one. Never will. I mean,
So the vibe that I'm getting here is I should have just asked Cosmic this
you
question.
probably should have just asked Cosmic because I don't really have
you
much
should've
to
just,
add
like-
because I haven't had a crush on a woman. Well, okay, prior to the one that happened very, very recently, I hadn't had a crush on a woman in like 10 years. And so it just doesn't happen for me often. The only thing I can say about crushes, at least from my perspective, is that it's just very hard for me to develop them in general. But when it does happen, it kind of just hits you at like a ton of bricks, and like all you think about is that person. And that's just like
and I
what
kinda
goes on
hate
in your
that.
head. It is fairly annoying, we'll say. Not fun, but like it's also like stressful too, because then you're like talking to this person, you have this like kind of weight on your shoulders while you're talking to them, and you can't like really think straight like as you normally would, which for me is very annoying.
For that matter.
Yeah, true. You can't think gay either. But that's
Wait,
that's
if
really
you
all,
can't
all
think
I have
gay,
to
does that
say.
mean you're thinking straight?
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
You know what? Tell us in the YouTube comments.
Yeah. That's all I have to say though. Is that I don't know. It just kind of consumes you for a little bit before you either like execute or you fail. And in Cole's, he did not execute.
Target acquired.
You know, he did the opposite of execute. He fumbled, bro. He dropped the ball
I
50
fumbled
times.
so hard.
It's so funny.
I fumbled insanely hard.
He threw the ball 10 yards in the opposite direction, dude. Let's
Yeah.
be so
Bro did an
real.
onside kick and it bounced back into his own basket.
Wow.
Anyway, Cosmic, go ahead. You can talk about
go ahead.
this shit because you're the only one
mean-
that does it.
It's all right, Cole.
Yeah.
I mean, and you told the story.
famously, the only person on the podcast who fill in the blank.
Has had sex.
So has
Say
had
it, bro.
sex.
Like, what the fuck? Woo, rip it.
Nice.
Look,
Yeah.
bro,
Okay.
subtext is cool. Yeah, yay me. Anyway, so
Cosmic's come. Hell yeah.
Wow, you seem so excited about.
I think. I hope.
yeah, no, I mean
Anyway.
sex is pretty cool. But anyway,
I'll take your word for it.
yeah, you're
Throw
gonna
back
have
to anal. If you were there, you were there. Go
All
ahead.
right, so
What, can we continue? What?
this is way funnier than anything I'll have to say. So don't
Am I
worry.
the only ace person in this call? Is this
Yeah,
what I'm
you
learning
are.
right now?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
no, that is true.
I'm just
I
going
don't-
to say this is starting to reframe how I understand a couple of you, but no. I'm just
I mean, I don't really have crushes a lot anymore. Like, I don't think I've actively like sought a partner out in the last couple of years.
You grew out of it.
Well, not really even necessarily. It's just like
You haven't found the right person.
it just ain't there at
Yeah.
the moment, right? And I will say that to a degree, I really understand walking away from these events with something like a crush, because when you are around people that you share so many similar interests with, and it's in a third space where you don't have to worry about work, or you don't have to worry about school or
Common cultural
responsibilities.
understanding as well.
Yeah, I think that it's very easy to, and because time seems so fleeting at these events, because I mean when
It's
it gets
almost like
to
a
Wednesday,
time capsule, right?
yeah, it is absolutely. So, I think people's minds also tend to go to like, wow, what if this person, like, what if I could hang out with this person or these people all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very easy to have those emotions well up in you, especially when you care about these people a lot as friends too, that I totally understand, like, walking away from an event like this with some emotions for somebody that you didn't necessarily expect. Or maybe you expected it, but you didn't think that they would develop so heavily until you actually saw them in person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the other term I've heard thrown around, especially in the Ace Spectrum communities online, is the concept of a squish, which is like a crush, squish. But in the sense of you really want to just get to know them more and really want to be their friend sort of thing. I mean, I think it's a very common thing at GDQs.
I think that those are kind of just two sides of the same coin. I don't really necessarily know if we need another name for it, but you can have platonic crushes, right? Like, that's a thing. So it's
interesting.
To me, well, I mean, platonic is great. It's pretty cool.
For example, I really like Haxxi. I think it would be cool to talk to them more. Like,
there you go. Yeah.
But I don't want to fuck Haxxi, just to put that out there.
That's fair.
I know we were all thinking it, so,
Yeah. No one was thinking it.
You're welcome.
I wasn't thinking it.
Yeah.
Yet. But anyway.
Yeah. Now you're thinking about it.
Now I'm
Stop thinking about me having sex. It's weird.
Wow, this sucks.
This bit is horrendous. Get out of my head! Get out of my head!
Oh, man.
I'm the juggernaut. Get out of my head, Charlie.
But no, I think like, just to accelerate what Cosmic was saying is that, like, you are just, like, in this time capsule almost, and so, like, relationships just form faster because you're just kind of around these people almost 24/7.
It's an incubator sort of.
Yeah, and it just, like, accelerates everything, and then it can accelerate friendships that, like, maybe you barely know each other, you start becoming friends, and then by the end of the week you're like, starting to think about becoming more than just friends. When normally that process takes a bit longer, but because you're just like around like so many like-minded people, because like you're all fucking losers at a speedrun event, right? You're like, holy shit, we're losers together. And I think it just like helps bridge the gap. Torched. Because like I think you have to go through all these different hoops with like people that you don't necessarily know. For example, the girl that I had a crush on recently is like an owner of a music store and is like a touring artist, right? I fucking play Scooby-Doo, nigga. Like, we don't have like anything like really in common.
No, you don't even do that anymore, bro. That's true.
But like either way, to bridge that gap, it creates it's a lot more hurdles to jump through rather than just showing up to a speedrun event and like, okay, we both speedrun. We can just like talk about whatever. Like, there's no filler bullshit at the beginning. You're just in the conversation most of the time because like. Right. I know Cosmic was saying this on a stream yesterday, but like just to echo what he was saying is that like the amount of conversations that I had about speedrunning at GDQ is pretty little. Like you normally talk about other things that are not necessarily about speedrunning with these people, and I think because of that, it just accelerates everything really quickly.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is that when you're in an environment like this with people, when you're in a culture that's just so like well knit and people are in that third space. You're not really getting a version of them. You're getting pretty close to that person. So it is a little easier to see like, those like what the person that you could develop feelings for as opposed to the version of them that's online or the version of them that's
out at a bar
in a
it's like
at a bar
it's like
or
seeing
in
them versus seeing their after image kind of
situation. Exactly. And it is very endearing to see a lot of people that presumably may not be able to be as free with, their expression of themselves in their everyday life. Like when I go to work, for example, I don't dress like at all like how I do here at home or how I do really at a GDQ. Like I'm wearing a button up and khakis all the fucking time. And I'm talking like this because this is my customer service voice. And I'm so happy to see you today. And what can I do for you today? And, I don't talk like that. That's not me.
Yeah.
So it is obviously how I express myself is not, or how I have to express myself is not nearly as limited as some people who may be in more dangerous situations due to a variety of factors. Right. So I am a pretty minor example. But it just goes to show you that, you can see a more, not necessarily authentic, but a more free version of these people.
Like a more honest, you know? It's just like,
when you can,
because a lot of
when
people
you
don't
can
have any
connect with
walls
that,
up, you know?
Yeah, when you can connect with that, as opposed to like even just them over Discord, you know, that is very, very cool. And I think it's easy for people to latch on to that too. And, you know, be very happy to talk to that person more than they might usually be.
And I think I mean, we've talked about this I think last episode and probably a couple others, but like I think GDQ just does a good job of fostering a like welcoming space where it doesn't matter what you are, right? And so since all those barriers are broken, people are like, oh, I can just like be what the fuck I am. Like I don't have to pretend to be like X or Y or like whatever. I can just show up and just like, if I'm a fucking annoying asshole, I can just be an annoying asshole and people are gonna like, you know, understand that, you know. I can be, you know, non-neurotypical. I don't have to act like I'm fucking straight at a wedding in front of a bunch of fucking bozos. No offense, Jax's family. But like, you know, you're just more free, and there's like really nothing. And because everyone else is also being free, it incentivizes you to also be free and to not have those walls, right?
Yeah.
Because like obviously
100%.
like last year I showed up, I had the gates up, but that's just because I always have my gates up permanently. And I would say I still have my gates up for the most part, but I would say the gates, instead of like being a 20-foot like giant fucking wall that you can barely even see over, they're probably like 10 foot, you know. It reduces by half. It's still there, but it's just like, I feel like that is the example for most people, and if not, they, like a lot of people don't even have any walls. They're just on the ground, you know.
Some people are just incapable of being anybody but themselves, and like holding that back specifically. Which is, you know, part of why I like GDQ so much, but
it allows people to unleash their weapon, you know. Unleash the fire costume. Anyway.
Oh God, I don't think so. But I guess to kind of like put a bow on it as to why I posed the question in the first place, there's kind of two components to it. One is which, you know, because I don't really interface with that part of the human condition all that much, if at all, I kind of just wanted to get an insight on, and not what I'm missing out on, but like,
what you're missing.
Well, you know, because it's like, you know, for all the trials and tribulations of it, and you know, Cole, you mentioned earlier that, you know, I kind of hate crushes. It kind of sucks. But it, like, in some ways, it also sounds kind of fun or meaningful in some ways. I don't know if that resonates.
It is terrifyingly exhilarating.
That's a great way of putting it, actually. Yeah,
it is. Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Yep, because it's like, you're like, oh my God, I don't want this to fail. But then you think about it and you're like, oh my gosh, this would be so cool if it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And you're doing that cycle for like 7 hours a day. It's really, really fun.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Oh yeah,
that must be a little annoying.
And you know what? The interesting thing, I don't want to ramble on too long.
Go for it.
Because again, this is not my forte. Is anytime I've had one relationship ever work out, and I think it's purely because that balance of like, oh my gosh, I really like this person. I hope nothing happens. Oh, but it'll be so cool. Like that didn't exist at all. It just happened. And that's when it works out the best. Yeah,
that's what happened with my also only relationship, is that there was not really that period of like really like fluttering feelings. It just kind of just happened, and we were just kind of dating like really quickly. I don't know if Cosmic has more to say on that, but like I feel like those generally are the best, because most of the crushes that I've had obviously have not worked out, but a lot of those are ancient history anyway. So
yeah, I mean,
right.
I'm usually friends with people before I date them, so it's really about it. Because like when you go on, you know, for example, like a dating app or something, like having to like wring the conversation out of people essentially
makes me want to fucking kill myself.
Exhausting, okay? Because dating apps in general are just exhausting, because like the women on there are tired of replying to all these thirsty, stupid men, right? That are not being truthful about
like
what
job
they want.
Applications.
It's like I think I've made the joke before that I am tired of like the Venn diagram for interview and first date becoming a circle. Okay, And like
That's
so true.
crazy.
Yeah.
I think that also
Like,
like plays into the whole GDQ crushes thing,
Oh,
though, is
God.
because like you don't really have to
Yeah.
deal with that Venn diagram.
you don't have to deal with that step. You don't have to deal with these dry ass fucking conversations.
Yeah.
Because
Where
the
it's
people
like,
who in
"Hey, how are
speedrunning who are
you?"
not good get sieved out. You know, it's like they get
Yeah.
And it's also just
Sniffed out
easier
really
to
quick.
just talk, right? There's less barriers
Yeah.
involved. And I think that's just the
Mhm.
biggest thing, is that there are just
Right.
less barriers at GDQ to talk to people.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't have to I don't have to worry about like being palatable for people at GDQ, right? Like on a dating
because
app.
there's only so much you could do, Cosmic.
True.
Damn.
Wow. Where did that come from?
Fucking rock.
Oh my god. Audio listeners, he just whipped.
He whipped. Why did he whip? I'm gonna
I like-
you with a
What,
fucking
that
whip,
was
bro.
like 10 years ago. Holy crap.
Because I
like
embarrassed
only-
you, I had to embarrass myself a little bit.
That's
For
fair.
every action, there is an equal and opposite
Alright.
reaction.
It's true. Don't
I got
worry,
you.
Jaxler.
We're in this sinking shit together.
It's true. Yeah, don't worry. I'll just beat your SpongeBob movie time, and then it'll be
No, you're
all
not gonna do
over.
No,
Yeah,
he's
I'm
not gonna
absolutely
do
not
that.
going to do that. Definitely not going to do that.
That's not gonna happen.
Oh.
It's not going to happen at all. There's
It
only
is
so much
possible.
I can do after all. But it's just like, yeah, I mean, when you're on a dating app, it's just like you have to present a version of yourself, and it's number one, like, you know, I have a responsibility as a guy on a dating app to make it clear, you know, like what I am there for. I'm there to look for a relationship, and I am there to not just be another idiot in the DMs or anything like that, right? You know, I have a responsibility to make sure that people feel safe on this app, and, you know, conduct myself accordingly. And then I also, you know, have a responsibility as just a patron of the dating app to try and just hold any sort of conversation, which is annoying as fuck.
Very
let me
hard.
tell you.
It's mainly just because,
Yeah.
like, I mean, it is what it is basically in real life in general, but like amplified is that just a lot of women are defensive, like, and they just kind of have to be just in general,
Yeah.
in real life. And then I feel like it's even like
Yeah.
amplified on the dating app, right?
Because-
It's
Just like when you said you had to
so-
have your walls up at 20 feet. Not
Yeah.
just because, I mean, that's part of it is that you, but also that's part of what you have to do.
Yeah.
For-
It
I mean,
just
that's
is
just because I
so
don't
part of
like
it.
people. I don't trust
Yeah.
people. That's a me thing that I need to work on.
Oh, that's just a trauma
That's
thing.
fair.
That's
Yeah.
a me thing.
That's just a
Well,
trauma
I can't
thing.
help you there.
Yeah,
But-
unlucky.
Yeah. Welp.
Hate to see it. Well,
Yeah, I mean, just compared to like even just because on dating apps sometimes you can make friends, right? But even just making a friend on one of those things
Still hard.
is so fucking annoying, right? Like I just after a year of like trying this sort of shit, which by the way, when I was on one of the apps, I'm not gonna say which, there
Grindr.
was somebody that recognized. No, not that one. I never used. I never used that one. No, just that is the come find me and kill me app. Like
More
It's-
come find
it
me
is
and fuck
so-
you. But anyway,
it is.
continue.
It is dangerous. But anyway, so
dangerous.
Speaking of danger,
there was a point where I just like decided to do a litmus test and just put up like photos of me from AGDQ 2020
oh no.
to see if anybody recognized it. And somebody that messaged me did actually recognize like the shoots and stuff, and they were like, "Are these from, you know, a GDQ?" Like, and I was like, "Oh yeah, no, they are." And we shot the shit about that for like 3 or 4 messages, and then they disappeared for like 3 months, and then they came back and they were like, "Hey, I'm just kind of going through a lot right now. Maybe I'll be back around or something." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "That's fine. No, I get it." And at this point, I was like, "What can you do, right?" But there was at least somebody that passed the vibe check there for a little bit.
2 messages.
And two or 3 messages, you know, it was pretty cool. And I think that they actually watched some of the next GDQ event that I was in, and they like commented on how cool XYZ thing was. But yeah, just dating apps in general are exhausting. I don't typically bother with them. I deleted them all off my phone a long time ago.
I've never even downloaded one.
But you know what isn't
You're not really
exhausting,
missing out.
everyone? It's hitting the like button and the subscribe button, which is what
and
you
the
should
subscribe
do
button.
That's
right
right.
now
Oh, yeah.
below the video.
That's right.
That's the end of the episode. A bit longer. I just didn't want this whole episode to be only about GDQ because I think that would be fucking cringe
Yeah.
if it was.
Sorry,
So
I
we
had to
went
make
a
it
bit
about
longer.
gay sex.
Yeah, we really
You
needed
made
this
it
segment
about
on
all
gay
types
sex.
of sex.
And speaking of sex, you will have more sex if you subscribe to our podcast. Certified,
Satisfaction
100% accurate. It will
You
happen.
also
People
have
have been
more
saying
sex if you actively hate Apple.
True,
That's
and
it.
if you should comment down below if you hate Apple.
You know what? Comment down below who your GDQ crush is. We swear we won't tell you.
Damn.
True, you should do that. Me, I don't have one. Unlucky. GG. Anyway, guy, Cosmic, who's your GDQ crush? Go ahead.
Is it Dirge?
Yeah. It's Vincent Valentine.
That's a good answer. Good answer. My crush is
Survey
Dynamite Dan,
says-
the Dirge runner.
Survey says it's Dirge time.
Anyway, we're gonna Dirge on out of here. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back next week, probably. I don't know why I said we're gonna be back. Fuck you. Goodbye.
Go away.